Everyone thinks gambling addicts are bad with money, reckless, impulsive, maybe even stupid, but the truth is almost the opposite. Some of the smartest people I know lost everything gambling. Doctors, engineers, finance guys, people who run businesses, people who analyze complex problems. But when it comes to gambling, they just couldn't stop. And the reason for that is uncomfortable because the same traits that make someone successful can also make them extremely vulnerable to gambling addiction. If you're new here, my name's Joe. I had a really severe gambling issue, and it also led to major depression. My last bet was April 16th, 2024. And now I make videos about the psychology behind gambling addiction and what it actually looks like in the modern world. When my gambling started getting bad, people would say something to me all the time, like, Joe, you're way too smart for this. How did you let it get this far? And honestly, I believed that. I thought intelligence would protect me. I thought if I studied harder, paid closer attention, analyzed things deeper, I could beat it. Because intelligent people are trained to believe something. If a problem exists, there must be a solution. And gambling feels exactly like a problem you can solve. If you're losing, you assume you just haven't figured it out yet. Maybe you need better data or better timing, better discipline, better bankroll management. So you keep trying. And the smarter you are, the more convincing your explanations become. You don't feel reckless, you just feel like you're figuring something out. For me, a huge part of it was sports. I grew up around sports my entire life. I played college football and I watched Big Ten football religiously every Saturday, every season for years. So when I started betting on sports, I genuinely believed I had an edge. I thought I understood those teams better than the sports books. I thought I understood motivation, like I could look at the roster and see what was going on. I knew the matchups, I knew what momentum looked like. I thought I could see things the odds makers couldn't. And I used to tell myself something all the time, half joking, but also like, not really. I'd say this weekend I'm bankrupting the bookie. Now, obviously, I wasn't bankrupting anyone, but what I meant was I was about to go on a run. And the crazy part is, by the time football season arrived, my entire mindset would change. Friday afternoon would hit, and I could feel this energy building up, like something big was about to happen. Saturday morning rolls around, and of course, I couldn't wait until the first games. I had to bet on soccer first, but I'd wake up feeling like I was ready for a game myself, like I was about to strap the pads on again. I'd have my bets lined up, games circled, angles I thought I discovered, and I'd sit there watching games with an insane level of intensity, like heart racing, completely locked in, forgetting about the rest of the problems. Because in my head, this wasn't entertainment. This was opportunity. This was a side hustle, or so I thought. This was the weekend I was about to prove I knew what I was doing. Smart people are usually very good at recognizing patterns. In most areas of life, that is a huge advantage. You notice trends faster, you can connect the dots other people miss, you see opportunities, but gambling exploits that exact trait because the patterns often aren't real. A team winning 3 games in a row, a player on a hot streak, a trend that looks meaningful, your brain wants to believe there's something there. But a lot of the time, it's just randomness or variance. And randomness is incredibly difficult for the human brain to accept, especially for people who are used to solving problems. And here's the part most gamblers ignore. Sportsbooks employ teams of statisticians, analysts, and data scientists whose entire job is setting those odds, not just to make them accurate, but to make them profitable. The system is designed so even if you're smart, you're still playing a losing game. But gambling has another trap, the heater. When you start hitting bets, when everything starts going your way, it feels unbelievable, like you can't miss or you finally figured something out. And that feeling might be one of the most addictive feelings in the world, especially if you win early on in your gambling career. But what I didn't understand back then was this: variance can make anyone look like a genius, at least for a little while. By the end of my gambling, something strange happened. It wasn't me versus the sports books anymore. I wasn't trying to bankrupt them or win money. It became me versus me. I would make $1,000 deposit and the goal wasn't even winning anymore. The goal became, can I make this last? Can I prove I have control? Can I prove I can gamble like a normal person? Can I prove I'm not actually addicted? And that's when you realize something really uncomfortable. The real battle isn't against the sports book. The battle is against the part of your brain that refuses to let go. The most dangerous thought a gambler can have is this: I'm smarter than the average gambler, because that thought separates you from the problem. You don't see yourself as someone who could lose control. You see yourself as someone who understands the game. And that belief allows the addiction to grow quietly, deposit by deposit, bet by bet, until one day you look up and realize you're exactly where you swore you would never be. Gambling addiction doesn't target stupidity. It targets human psychology, and sometimes the people most vulnerable are the ones who believe they're too smart to fall into the trap. Because the house doesn't beat you by being smarter, it beats you by making sure you never stop believing you can win.